Hey everybody, it's Sharon from Let's Get Down to Business Bootcamp. You know what the heck time it is. It's time for another episode of What the heck does that contract clause mean? So today we're talking about the survival clause. Now wait, don't worry, you do not have to get out hiking boots. We're not going out in the wilderness. What I'm talking about is a clause that's found mostly in the termination section of your contract, and it says something like this. Notwithstanding the expiration or earlier termination of this agreement for any reason, comma, the following sections shall survive, colon, and then it lists sections, sections 2, sections 3.3, section 9, and it sometimes will say something else at the end, comma, and any other term or condition which by its nature should survive, shall survive. So what does that all mean? Is this a case of lawyers just putting in words that are saying the same thing twice? In this case, it really isn't. When you have a contract, and whether it ends because you've reached the natural end of your contract, it expires, or one or both parties want to get out early and they agree, termination for convenience, when a contract is over, it's over. Every obligation and right ends that moment, full stop. But sometimes there are provisions the parties want to keep going. Maybe one or two of them, but they want everything else to end. I think the most common of this one is the confidentiality clause. If you're dealing with confidential information, whether it's technical information or business information, very often and most often, people want those obligations to keep secret things secret to last longer than the contract. In fact, in the technology and biotechnology world, a confidentiality clause often lasts 7 or 10 years beyond the end of a contract. And unless you say that obligation specifically survives, it won't. It will just end. And that special clause I talked about, and any other term or condition which by its nature should survive, shall survive, that's sort of the catch-all in the case of, whoops, we meant to list the confidentiality clause, but we forgot to call that number out specifically, and the confidentiality clause itself said, the clause survives for 7 years. That will then make sure it does carry on and continue so that the obligations that should keep going will keep going. So no, the survival clause is not about getting in the nature, hiking boots, kayaking. It's just about making sure that what you want to happen actually happens, which after all is the whole purpose of putting things down in writing in a contract so everybody knows what the rules of the road are. So what the heck, I hope you learned a little something today, and maybe it'll inspire you to actually go out for a hike, because every once in a while we do need to leave our offices and our phones and the internet and social media. So all right, everybody, have a great day, and what the heck, I'll see you next week.